Hello, welcome to this presentation on self-efficacy beliefs of pre-service teachers, which is the result of a research project carried out by by us, a group of researchers from the University of Veracruz, and because of the relevance of self-efficacy. Self-efficacy has emerged as an intriguing topic in education. Albert Bandura first introduced the term self-efficacy in his social cognitive theory in 1977. Later on, he defined self-efficacy as a person's belief in their ability to produce a level of performance that affects activities that impact their lives. Self-efficacy is relevant in education and in all spheres of life because possessing a high sense of self-efficacy is one of the most important things as it influences the success of learning in the classroom. In, in terms of education, the higher the self-efficacy a teacher possesses, the better performance in the classroom, which in turn impacts positively on students' learning. However, there is a gap in the existing literature regarding how novice EFL teachers perceive their own preparation and self-efficacy and how these factors contribute to their development as language teachers. Considering the contextual nature of self-efficacy, the paucity of research is notable. Therefore, we aim at filling out this gap. So the main objective of this study was to find out the self-efficacy beliefs of a group of pre-service teachers from three teacher education programs in one of the major public universities in southeastern Mexico. Several studies have been done regarding the self-efficacy beliefs of teachers and pre-service teachers, and these are just some examples of these. So you can see that Bakar et al. Found out that the teacher sense of efficacy among pre-service teachers is high, and they believe they can perform the tasks required of them. In 2017, Nugro found out that the pre-service teachers are less effective at engaging their students and implementing effective instruction strategies than they are at managing their classrooms. In 2018, Kankaya found out that the pre-service teachers perceived themselves to be the most effective with regard to instructional concerns, and that teachers and pre-service teachers were deemed to have low self-efficacy regarding engagement. Ansari found out that English teachers have high self-efficacy in using interactive critical thinking and metacognitive pedagogical strategies to promote higher order thinking skills. And in this last study that we quote by these authors, high self-efficacy affects teachers' teaching practices, learners' motivation and achievement. It also affects teachers' burnout status, psychological being, and their job satisfaction. That is to say, that then in these findings we can see the relevance of self-efficacy as it affects several aspects of a teacher's performance in the classroom. Along the years, several self-efficacy scales have been developed, and for the purposes of our study, we adopted Bakar et al.'s self-efficacy scale, but which in turn was originated by Gibson and Dembo, they only consider three aspects of teacher self-efficacy: personal teaching efficacy and general teaching efficacy. Later on, Chanem Moran and Wolfgang Hoy developed their version of the scale, which they called teacher self-efficacy scale, and they included three aspects: student engagement, instructional strategies, and classroom management. And as I mentioned before, Bakar et al. They made their version, the teacher sense of self-efficacy scale, which also consider these three aspects. In our version, we adapted it and translated into Spanish, and we considered the three main aspects about how teachers or pre-service teachers feel about student engagement, how their sense of self-efficacy relates to instructional strategies and to classroom management. And this comes from Ventura, the original, in 1997, who mentioned that different people with similar skills or the same person under different circumstances may perform poorly, adequately, or extraordinarily depending on fluctuation in their beliefs of personal efficacy. Skills can be easily overruled by self-doubt, so that even high-talented individuals make poor use of their capabilities under circumstances that undermine their beliefs in themselves.
The methodology we followed was a mixed methods case study with an explanatory sequential design, and our data collection methods were the teacher sense of efficacy scale by Bakar et al. Translated and adapted, and semi-structured interviews for the qualitative data. Our context and participants, well, it's three teacher education programs from one of the most important public universities in the southeast of Mexico. It's a Bachelor of Arts in English Language, a BA in English Language Teaching, and an MA in Teaching English as a Foreign Language. For the survey, 29 of the English Language BA answered it, 31 from the English Language Teaching, and 11 from the master's degree. And then we interviewed two students from each of the programs. Okay, for the BA in ELT, we have, in English language, we have Titino and Cayo with no teaching experience at all, but their practices in the BA. Then we've got the BA in English language teaching, where there are usually teachers, in-service teachers, but both Lalo and Eli didn't really have experience before entering the BA as English teachers, just when they started it. And then we've got Pedro and Marta from the MA, and they have a few years already teaching, yes, the language, less than 2 years teaching the language. And well, now we are going to move with the results. We are going to start with the results from the surveys. Okay, so well, for this questionnaire that we use, we have three different elements. The first one being student engagement, and I'm going to start explaining the results from the students from the BA in English language, and then the students from the BA in ELT, which is online. Well, the first factor is student engagement, which has to do with dealing with difficult students, promoting critical thinking, motivating apathetic students, fostering students' self-confidence, fostering students' awareness of learning importance, stimulating students' creativity, improving students' comprehension skills, collaborating with families in the students' best learning interest. Well, as we can see, here we have all the elements that the BA in English language students answered. And as we can see, they are in the 2, 3, and 4 levels.
Yes, which means, well, of course, they are not teachers, they are still students, and most of them are in number 3, which is a neutral answer. So this may have to do with these, of course, non-experience as teachers now that they have. But it is curious to see that in number 3 we have these several items with a high average. Yes, and well, of course, there is one which is fostering students' self-confidence. Yes, with a high with the highest, it is the highest item, okay? Then the second aspect is instructional strategy, which has to do with responding to difficult questions, gauging students' comprehension level, making good questions, adjusting classes to students' level, using a wide variety of assessment strategies, providing further examples and explanations, implementing alternative strategies, and providing challenging activities for outstanding students. Again, here as they are students from the BA in English language and they are still students, they have not taught, yes, any students. Again, we can see that most of the answers are in number 3, which is related to this non-experience again. Yes, although providing further examples and explanations, they feel that, well, the teaching or the experience they have gathered here at the school where is helping them to have this issue done or fulfilled. And the last aspect is classroom management, which has to do with controlling disruptive behavior, making behavior expectations clear, establishing routines to keep activities running smoothly, getting students to follow rules, establishing a classroom management system, calming disrupting and noisy students, preventing problem students from ruining the entire lesson, and responding to defiant students. Well, here is very curious to see that, well, they are in 1 to 3, yes, number 2 being the highest items, and of course this has to do with the same thing. They haven't taught really, they haven't had this experience of working with real students, so they feel that the classroom management is still an process activity. No, they have to gain experience in this matter. And well, of course, well, now, yes, in student engagement as well, but now with the students from the BA in English language teaching, which I repeat is online, here, well, these students, most of them have experience teaching English, and we can see from this first aspect that, well, all the answers have moved to the 4 and 5s. Yes, that means that, well, of course, their self-efficacy, they perceive their self-efficacy as in these higher um, numbers because of course they have the experience. Yes, and most of them even they are in the 5th column. Yes, so they moving apathetic students, fostering students' self-confidence, stimulating students' creativity, and improving students' comprehension skills. Well, with the experience they have gained because they have been teachers, yes, for many years now. Yes, well, some of them. Well, here we can see the experience that, or well, that they gave the answers responding to this experience that they have had. And in the last one, classroom management, again, they are in 4 and 5s. Well, even here in establishing routines to keep activities running smoothly, we can see that they are 3, 4, 5, but with very high points. So that means that they really have this classroom management fulfilled. They know how to manage with these with these activities so that the class is smoothly and comfortable for all the students. And we can see by all these answers that these students, of course, because of the experience they have, they possess all these elements, yes, when working with the students.
In this slide, we can see the results of instructional strategy. The students of the MA in teaching English as a foreign language vary in relation to their reports. In number 5, with 54.5%, we can see responding to difficult questions. We can also check making good questions with 36.4, adjusting classes to students level 45.5, and providing further examples and explanations 54.5. 4 out of 9, so we can see that they have a higher percentage. And in number 4, we can see gauging students' comprehension level, using a wide variety of assessment strategies, and implementing alternative strategies, as well as providing challenging activities of outstanding students. In this slide, we can see the results in relation to classroom management. The highest element here was making behavior expectations clear with 36.4. Then we have in number 4 several points: controlling disruptive behavior, establishing routines, getting students to follow rules, establishing a classroom management system, and responding to defiant students. We can also see 4 elements here in number 3, which is the lowest for these students: controlling disruptive behavior, etc. Next, please. Well, now it's time for comparing the 3 programs. As you can see in this slide, the MA, the master's program, has got a 3.93 percentage. In comparison to the BA in English language teaching, which surprisingly has got a higher percentage, this is going to be explained in the implications later on. And we have the results of the BA in English language, which is the lowest one because of the conditions of the program. Now, in relation to the instructional strategy category, we can see the same pattern. The BA in English language teaching is at the top with 4.38. Then the master's degree program with 4.31. And we can see the BA in English with 3.13. So we follow the same pattern of the previous category, as you can see. With classroom management, we have the same procedure. They reported the same. The BA in English language teaching with the highest percentage, 4.38. Then the master's degree with 3.69, and well, the lowest score was with the BA in English with 2.38. This is the comparative chart that you can see in this slide. with the 3 teacher education programs. You can see student engagement, instructional strategy, and classroom management compared with the columns. You can see there the percentages. And well, interestingly, we have the BA in English language teaching at the top with every single category, then the master's degree on second place, and finally the BA in English. This is the comparison that you can see. The lowest, classroom management for all programs. This was the lowest category, while the highest ones were student engagement and instructional strategies in both the BA in English and the MA in teaching English as a foreign language. This is basically the results from the quantitative procedure.
Now we're going to present the results for the interviews, and there were several categories here. Well, first is about general perceptions. And first we've got the students from the MA, Marta and Pedro. We can see here that their general self-perception would probably seem a bit negative because for Marta, she says she has many mistakes and that every day is a new challenge. But she identifies very clearly that self-confidence makes a difference. And Pedro feels quite comfortable because he can adapt and he can go back and forth to catch up or reinforce. He feels self-confident enough to do all of that, and he has the freedom to do so. And what is interesting here is that they do already identify themselves as teachers. We teachers, they say. We teachers are not dictionaries, says Marta. We are not perfect. And Pedro says we teachers need to compensate for those cognitive challenges in students, etc. Right? So, as teachers in service teachers for less than 2 years, however, they already have this experience. And for the BA in English language, right, we can see, yes, the inexperience reflected here. At the beginning, Kajo found it very frustrating and he felt very limited. He planned something and it wouldn't work. And he he sees experience, the lack of experience as a problem. And for Titino, yes, it's the same thing. He sees himself as a student learning, not a teacher yet, because he is not. And even with these practices he's had, right, he doesn't feel ready to deal with the students, right? And then we can see here very clearly, right, the differences between the students from these three teacher education programs. Now, more specifically, we have attitudes towards job or teaching practice for those students who are not teachers yet. MA students, we can see, right, that they feel okay, and that they really like teaching. However, in the case of Marta, for the current job she has, she feels stuck. She thinks things are monotonous and she would like a change. Pedro instead feels very satisfied, not under pressure, and he senses stability. He actually focuses on that. And he thinks that he feels satisfied, not under pressure, and he senses this stability because of his age. He sees himself as a young student who enjoys his job, and fatigue then is not in the picture, not yet at least. But he also emphasizes that he enjoys his job. So both really like or enjoy their job. And for the BA in English language, right, we can see again that they see it as a tedious process, or they were nervous. But in the end, yes, they managed to deal with it, but mainly because, right, of teamwork, Titino says, right, teamwork was key. Or, yes, for Cayo, well, he likes teaching language, he enjoys it. So this is very important. Then we have this category which refers to the support teachers receive at the institutions they are working or giving their practices. And we can see, right, that Mata, right, sees a difference between private and public, but his private as very limited support, while more support regarding the public school, right? And in general, she appreciates that they give them freedom in their teaching practice. She sends this as support, yes, that she receives. While Pedro, yes, tells us a little bit different. For him, his experience yes, is in private schools with much more support, right? With courses, psychological help, technology, and he sees public education as a place where they don't receive as much support as in private. For the BA in ELT, right, Ellie feels that she receives everything she needs, right? There are meetings and they give them, yes, the material, the worksheets, and material things that she needs for her teaching. And the same for Lalo, right? He has resources, right? He has access to the audiovisual room, the computer, the projector, the speakers, everything that he needs. Okay, they provided it with them, and that's the kind of support they talk about. For the BA in English language, as it's not really yes, an institution they are really working for, and they have not had much practice before this, unlike English and language teaching students who have had a lot of practice before that. Then we have Cayo here who says, well, he has the support of the teacher he is assisting for his practices in the BA. Now, regarding job expectations. We can see here that the MA in TEFL teachers, right, for Marta, yes, she considers to be treated well, a good pay, reasonable workload, and be valued as very important aspects to expect from a job, while Pedro thinks it has to be a job that makes him feel fulfilled, both personally and academically, right? Like having a balance between your work life and your personal life. That's what he values the most. For BA in English language teaching students, right, Ellie appreciates freedom to adapt work environment, a good work environment, and of course, a good salary and flexible hours, although she knows this is not always possible. Lalo emphasizes that what he would like the most would be job stability. Also, he wants to go to work to a foreign country, and he also emphasizes that be treated well makes a difference. And finally, right, the only participant that expressed something related to job expectations for the English language BA, yes, was Cayo, right, and he also expresses, right, his desire for going to work to an English-speaking country. Finally, we've got the category for training needs and professional development. For the master students, right, they mention in general, right, that they need more training in technology, right, like the TICs in general, or technology, right, for Pedro, like TikTok content, for example, and other areas, yes, in which they identify they need more training. For Mata is group control and responding to difficult questions and dealing with the attitudes of some students, but not only to punish them or not to punish them, but to respond to them with intelligence and be able to support them, right? And Marta emphasizes the fact that it's good, it's valid to accept that you may not be the best, right? And well, Pedro, other areas apart from technology that he thinks he needs more training is in teaching strategies, designing teaching material, and he would love a TK course, for example. For the English language teaching BA students, right, in Ellie's case, she thinks that she needs to improve her language level up to C1 and improve in given orders. And Lalo would like to do something different than English language teaching, but he also considers a postgraduate program as a good way to develop professionally. And the areas that he very clearly identifies as something he needs to improve is in lesson planning and evaluation. Finally, for the English language students, okay, for Cayo, he thinks Spanish as a foreign language is an area that he would like to go for. He's particularly interested in knowing how to be able to give feedback to students in a better way, and his language level is his main concern. Titino, right, worries about how to treat certain types of students, right, and also, right, like he would like to know more about material design. And he says that it's nice to see that he sees that nobody is ever 100% prepared, right? There will always be changes. There will always be something new, right? And everyone needs to continue learning them, right? And again and again. So, right, we can conclude that those pre-service teachers that are seeking further professionalization seem to be more aware of both strengths and areas of improvement. We can see also that teaching experience does translate into a higher sense of self-efficacy, and then in teacher education programs, more teaching practice should take place. So those with little teaching practice, yes, rely on what their own teachers say or do, whether as an example of what to do or what not to do. And this is usually not enough, right? But it is important. They see their teachers as their mentors. So they should be, right? Teachers at teacher education programs should take this into consideration. And having a high command of the language does impact the sense of self-efficacy as well as how much they like their job. Other conclusions we reached was classroom management is an area that needs to be given more attention in teacher education programs because all three types of students, pre-service teachers, that was the lowest in which they ranked. Collaboration also seems to be very important in the first teaching experiences. Job stability and a good work environment, like to be treated well and to be valued, is a highly appreciated quality. So we need to think, how does this impact the sense of self-efficacy? For the research is needed here. And finally, teachers seem to understand that whatever kind of support is offered in the institutions they work or will be working will vary depending on the institution possibilities to provide it, and don't complain much about it then. And well, that is all. Thank you very much.